Alright guys, got the old 2016 Silverado here. If you follow my channel, and by follow I mean, you know, watch all my videos. I just stumbled across this one. 199,491 miles, transmission failure, 6L80E. So we have now got it fixed, and we did it on the cheap. You wonder if that's possible. Well, in my case it was. In your case it may not be, but it may cost you a little more to do it the way I did it, but the outcome is a whole lot better transmission. You see there's no check engine lights, no trouble codes, no problems. It's running. See the tack is up, so we'll shut her off and get out. Talk about it. Oh. So this thing quit, transmission went out. My girlfriend drives this thing, and she puts a lot of miles on it. Golly, I don't know if I can zoom that out. I guess I don't need to. She puts a lot of miles on this truck. And of course I've been preaching to her to slow down. You know, going to work is enough miles, and you want to go visit everybody and run. Well, that's irritating. My phone's trying to do an update, and I'm just talking along, filming away, and the camera went off. So I had to go back and watch the first minute video. Didn't realize that I didn't record it. So here we go again. Anyway, where I left off, I told the girlfriend if she don't slow down, this truck's eventually going to die, and it's going to be expensive to fix, and you're going to be without a ride. Well, that's exactly where we're at now. So anyway, what happens to these transmissions is the torque converter fails. And the torque converter, when it fails, it puts some metal through the transmission. And then when it gets to the front pump, it eats the front pump up, and then it can't make hydraulic pressure. So, you know, the simple explanation for an automatic transmission is it's just a hydraulic system. It has clutches and bands, and it uses oil pressure to apply the clutch, squeeze them together. Or the band, they call it a band because it goes around a drum, and when it applies, it just squeezes the drum, stops it from turning, which makes different speeds. And you know, it's pretty involved. But the simple solution is it uses pressure to squeeze clutches, squeeze bands. And the front pump is obviously a pump, but it's in the front of the transmission. The early days, the old Power Glide, it had one in the front and one in the back. So instead of just saying pump, because they used to have two, they'd say front pump or rear pump. But now they only have a front pump, but the front pump term stayed with it anyhow. So when the front pump, the metal goes through it, it scores these machine surfaces a real tight tolerance. And when they get scratched and scored, well, it gives the oil a place to go, and it can't make the pressure that it needs to make the clutches and bands apply like they need to. The pressure that they need to hold the weight of the truck or move the weight of the truck or whatever you're doing with it. And when they do that, then it burns the clutches up, and then clutch material and metal, it just goes through and destroys everything. So anyway, I was telling my nephew has J&S Towing, and he buys a lot of salvage stuff, commercial salvage and just regular cars off individuals, things like that. And he said, hey, I got a transmission, and it's new, looks brand new. But he said, I don't really know what it is. I said, well, I don't even know what mine is. So let me do a little research, and then I'll learn a little, and I'll come look at yours. So my truck, 2016 Silverado, this truck is available with two different transmissions, a 6-speed and an 8-speed. They're both 80 series transmissions. 6L80 is a 6-speed. In the 8L80E, they're both E's, they're E's for electronics. And so this truck has a 6L80E, a 6-speed 80 series. If you have a dipstick under the hood of your truck, you have a 6-speed. If you don't have a dipstick, you have an 8-speed. If you have an 8-speed and you want a dipstick, you can get a 6-speed dipstick. It'll go right in there and plug it. It's got a plastic plug down there where the dipstick goes. You just pull it out, stick the dipstick in there, and bolt it to the back of the motor, and you're good to go, if you'd rather have a dipstick. Anyway, so the trucks that my nephew bought are, I felt the raindrop thing, that my nephew bought are 1-ton van bodies, a cab chassis. It's just a front part of the van with the 2 doors and then nothing on the back. You know, like it had a U-Haul box or refrigeration box or whatever, you know, county transit bus thingy or school bus or whatever. But when it come out from the factory, it's just the van nose and the chassis. And they had Duramaxes in them. So in the van, they don't put Allisons in them because there's no room under the floor, and they won't put a big hump in the floor. So they put the 6L transmissions in it. So my research says it's a 6L90. A 6L90E is a 700 foot-pound torque transmission. The 6L80E is a 400 foot-pound transmission. That's the amount of torque that it can safely take, you know, that or under. So I get doing research and everything's the same. The bell housing's the same. The torque converter has 6 bolts in it where mine has 3. That's not a problem. You can just use 3 bolts like mine is. The cooler lines are the same. The shifter's the same. The rear spline's bigger. But, you know, you just buy a yoke. That's not a big deal. Lengthwise, I didn't know. So I go out there and look. And sure enough, he's got a transmission that's brand new. It's got a GM part number on it, and it's not a reman. So I said, well, you know, let's try put it in there. We just, you know, pull this one out, throw that one in there, and whatever don't work, we'll make it work. So we bolted the, they did, I had them do it. They put the transmission in, everything bolted up. Torque converter, we just put it on with 3 bolts. That's the way the 5.3 was. And cooler lines bolted right up, shifter worked. The transmission ended up being a little bit longer, so they had to modify the cross member, and it went right back in place. And the drive line was 1.25 inches too long, so I took my drive line over and had it shortened, which is a whole nother story. But a place that I've had a couple of drive lines done, and none of them ever worked out right for me. But I mean, the work was good, just no compassion for your wallet. You know, I sent the drive line out of this truck over there, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's aluminum. And they're the only people around Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's closest to me, big city. They're the only people who do aluminum transmissions, aluminum drive lines. You know, this truck's new. I bought it new. It's never been in anybody's hands. It's never been wrecked. Don't know that it's ever run over anything, but no vibrations, no issues. But they can't shorten my drive shaft because it's bent. Yeah, sure it is. Went from $450 to $1,300. So anyway, and you know, I said, well, should make it out of steel. We can't do that. You have to add a carrier bearing because it's too long. So anyway, got the transmission made, a drive shaft made, got it in here, and it would go, but it wouldn't shift. Now the transmission control module on these trucks is inside of the transmission. So it has to be programmed. You know, it has to be introduced to the truck, or that, you know, they don't recognize each other. They won't talk to each other. So I bought a scan tool that was supposed to do that, but I couldn't ever figure out how to make it do it. So we got to get with them on that. But we just took it out to the Chevrolet house, and for $152.50, they programmed it. Now I didn't tell them that I put the 6L90 transmission in here. I just had them program it, and I skipped part of my story. I'll go back to it in a second. They programmed it, and it worked perfect. I mean, it works excellent. You can see from the first little minute video, there's no check engine lights on, nothing like. It works just perfect. And this truck doesn't know that it's got a different transmission in it. Now, the part of the story that I skipped that's kind of important, I called 3 different transmission shops, and I said, hey, I got a 6L80 bad, but I got a chance to buy a 6L90 that's brand new. It's not remanned. It's brand new, over-the-counter GM transmission. Nope, can't do it. Not even possible to do it. I said, well, what's different? It's all different. Case is different. Wiring's different. Nothing will work. Now, one of these shops is a very well-known transmission rebuild shop in Parker County. If you go by there, there's probably 50, 75 cars sitting around. They all told me a month before they could even get it in the shop. So we went on and said, we'll just put it in there. Well, doing research to see what you got to do. If you would have bought this truck with a 6.2 in it, it would have come with a 6L90. So if Chevrolet can put it in here, why can't we put it in here? The 6.6 gas and the 6.2 gas both had 6L90s. The RS Camaro has a 6L90 in it. So, but you're telling me you can't put it in this truck? No way, no how. What is it, a different block. You know, he says the case is different, bolt pattern is different. Is it a different LS motor? I never heard of a different one. Anyway, so I put it in there, it worked. Everything works fine. I'm out $1,500, 17, less than $2,000. And transmission shops wanted $3,500 to $6,000, and it'd be a month before they can get to it. So anyway, we got her all done up. Maybe there's some advice in here you can use in my rambling to help you get through. Now, O'Reilly offers a transmission for this truck, a direct replacement 6L80E for $2,850, and it's a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty. And you know, that's a pretty quick and easy way to go, but you still got the cheap transmissions or cheap torque converter. I don't know what they do for torque converter upgrades, or if they just, you know, some transmission shops, they upgrade everything they can when they rebuild them, and other shops, they just change the bad parts and put it back together. So, you know, these transmissions, 6L80s, have been known to fail at 30,000 miles. And, you know, Chevrolet says south from under warranty tough, even though it's a known issue with the converter failure. Anyway, oh, maybe that'll help somebody. It's, you know, you check your local wrecking yards, you should be able to pick up a transmission cheap. And even if it's not new like the one I got, I wouldn't worry about it, because these transmissions, you know, they just run and run and run and run. The 90s, 6L90E, they don't give much trouble. And if you got a transmission made for 700 foot-pounds of torque, and you put it behind this 5.3 that's obviously made for 400 or less, you should never have any issues with this transmission. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. If you made it all the way through, maybe the old truck, I don't know, might sell this truck. The girlfriend's job don't pay enough. You know, I'm out the transmission and a few other repairs. I'm out $2,500 here, money I'm never going to get back, and she don't make enough to, you know, I did a wheel hub and brakes and tranny service. We serviced this tranny about 2 months before it went out. You know, I put new taillight bulbs in it, LED taillight bulbs, all that stuff, and her job just doesn't pay enough, and so she's not going to take this back down here to Waco. I don't know what she's going to do, but I can't spend all my car flip money keeping her in a ride so she can work a part-time job. Anyway, that's all I got. If you're interested in my truck, well, shoot me an offer, and should be good for another 200,000 or better, I would think. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, follow, tag, share it to your social media. Tell your aunts and your uncles and everybody you know, and help me grow the channel. We're at 273 subscribers. It's kind of weird. I went down to 270 and back. I was at 272. Went down to 270 and back up to 273. So we're growing, but it ain't no wildfire like we've been having around here. So that's about all I got. Thank you all for watching.